Hi. So, hold on for 1 second. Oh, yay. Okay. Hey! Okay, I'm finally getting this streaming platform down. So, sorry. Thank you. Um, welcome. It's a beautiful, rainy Wednesday, and yeah, what can I say? But let's get on to it. Welcome to the Scaled Down Livestream, where we dive into all aspects about scaling down, aging, and everything in between. I'm your host, Natalie Lewin of Lux Transitions, and each week we bring you expert advice, personal stories, and practical advice to help you navigate these important life transitions. Today, we have a very special guest. I mean, all of our guests are special, but this one is extra special. It is the Patrick Brown, actually, the Patrick Brown, the co founder of the Bandina Group. The Mandina Group specializes in empowering individuals to comfortably age in place with a dedicated focus on creating safe, accessible living environments. They provide tailored home modifications that enhance quality of life. In today's episode, we'll uncover the story behind the Mandina Group, explore their expertise and offerings for aging in place, providing us with valuable insights and information. So, whether you've decided to age in place, or you're interested in exploring your options, or just seeking inspiration, you're in the right place. So, let's dive right in. Welcome, Patrick.
Thank you. Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you wonderfully.
Excellent. Excellent.
How are you doing?
I'm well. Thank you. I'm inside and staying dry, which is all I can ask for on a day like this.
That's the goal of today.
Yeah.
So, how have you been enjoying summer with your family? Any highlights to talk about?
It's been great. It was actually my son's 4th birthday on the 1st. He's a Canada Day baby. And
Oh, very
so,
nice.
yeah, so we had some fun family stuff. He had his first friend's birthday party, which was our first experience putting one on.
Right.
So, but it was fun. We've done some other family stuff here and there as well. And so, yeah, just been enjoying it as much as we can.
Perfect. Well, thank you for joining us today. Really
Thanks for
looking
having me.
forward to what the Mandina and the Patrick Brown is all about. So, let's get into it. And,
Mhm.
first off, I want you to tell us how Mandina Group started, what birthed it, and how it's going today.
Yeah, sure. So it started very serendipitously, I guess you could say. So my wife and I had moved into our house maybe it was about a little over 3 years ago now, and we wanted to get some renovations done and hired a contractor who could do some of it. And he said, for all this other chunk of it, I'm going to refer you to this other contractor I know. And his name was Dave Partington. And so uh, Dave did a fantastic job. I loved how he worked, the quality of his work, but not only that, the transparency of it.
Mm,
I think we've all had we can all share horror stories of dealing with contractors of
contractors
various kinds and things like that.
and
And
lack of transparency.
right, yeah, and everything was up front, everything was clear. If there was a problem, it was made known. The communication was great, and so I just really enjoyed how he worked, and we also just kind of got along really well. And one day we were just chatting and he asked what I did for a living. And at the time I was operating retirement residences across the GTA,
Okay.
all with very much a focus of really promoting independence, promoting lifestyle, trying to cater to the modern senior and not just doing what everybody else was doing.
Right.
And he said, "Oh, that's interesting. I've kind of wanted to do something in that area." And so we got to talking, and certainly post COVID, even more so, I will say. I think there's a reluctance among modern seniors to leave their homes to go into retirement living. And quite frankly, I don't blame them.
Right.
And so we decided, well, what if we could help enable that? What if we could help people stay in their homes longer, safely, independently, but be where they want to be? And so that's how Mandina was born. So we decided to do a senior focused renovation company. So we'll do a home reno, we'll do accessibility, we'll do safety, but we'll also make it beautiful. And we're now also launching into some other things, and so it's going very well. We've done our first few renovation projects. We haven't even been launched for, I think we've been launched for about 6 months now.
Right.
And so we've had our first few jobs have been done. We're quoting on a bunch more. We're about to launch our concierge club, which is something that we're really excited about, that I'm happy to tell you a little bit more about. And so it's growing and it's interesting, and it all worked out well because I, through various reasons, was going to be leaving the retirement industry in the fall. And so we had been talking about it over, maybe a year and a half, about getting this thing going and kind of doing a little bit of work on the sidelines. And so then when I found out that my work situation was changing, we just said, well, it's time, and away we go.
Time.
Yeah.
I love that you spoke about the design aspect of it, that it should look good.
Absolutely.
So in previous decades, it didn't necessarily look good.
No.
It's mom and dad needed a handrail. You just threw on a handrail.
Yeah.
It didn't have to match the decor. It just had its functionality.
Yeah.
And now, though, it's getting into, okay, so we're thriving in our older years. We might need some extra help, but we want it to look good.
Absolutely.
And
absolutely.
It's so important.
Yeah, it is. It is. And fortunately, more so in this sector than in retirement living. And I don't mean to dump on the retirement living. There are some companies out there that are doing their best to kind of evolve, but a lot of them are big companies and they're slow ships to turn. And so, but on the home, like residential side, you got a lot of designers and a lot of companies that are doing things in an interesting way. They're coming up with, cabinetry and storage systems and other things that are functional, that are accessible, or are just, more senior friendly, and they're beautiful and they're stylish and they look fantastic. Right. And that's the thing, is the last thing we want to do is go into someone's home and turn it into something that looks like an institution. Right. We want it to keep looking like a home, and we're trying to push the boundaries on that as well. So, for example, I have my brother-in-law and sister run a machine shop out in Whitby. And so I went to him and was like, okay, if we wanted to do grab bars, but stylish ones, he's like, oh yeah, we could do that. Yeah. Any color you want. We can make them hot pink. We can make them whatever, so we're just little things like that we're just trying to find ways that we can have all of those features in place, but it looks good.
Perfect. So let me ask you something. So
Sure.
For those looking to stay in their homes longer, what are some of the key modifications or services you recommend to make their living environment safer and more accessible?
Sure. It's a very specific question to the individual or individuals living in the home, but there are some basic things that could be done. So first and foremost, you want to just assess your living space, both inside and outside. So easy things to look for are all your walkways inside and especially outside, are they clear? Are they free of trip hazards? So things like thresholds across doorways when your flooring changes. Sometimes they're nice and smooth. Sometimes there's like some sort of a bump. Well, as we get older, we don't necessarily pick up our feet as much. That turns into a tripping hazard. Okay. Or outside, we have a walkway up to our front door, or we have a back patio or something like that. And over time, if it's interlocking or if it's stone, the stones become uneven, or you get plant growth coming through, or you've got bushes and things that start to encroach onto the pathway. and that just makes it harder to get around.
Right.
Lighting levels are a big one. You want
Okay.
everything to be bright, so as much lighting as possible. And there's so many great things you can do now with smart devices and LEDs and things like that. You can have dimmers, so you have the option of, you have the brightness when you need it, but when you want the mood lighting, you can have that as well.
Right.
How you store things, where you store things, and the way those storage areas are built. So, for example, we've all seen the beautiful kitchens with the cabinetry that goes all the way up to the ceiling, and nobody can reach the top two the top two shelves, right? I'm 6'3" and I can't reach them sometimes. So, there are companies now that are doing amazing things where, like, you can open the door and you can pull the entire rack out and down.
I
Or
need that.
yeah, right. Or there's like a little thing where it's built into the cabinetry. There's a company called Bloom does this. They have this little kick plate. You kick it at the bottom, and a little platform pops out that you can use to reach up higher. And if you've got kids or grandkids, they can step up on it and help, and get involved in what's going on with meal prep and things like that.
Right.
So those are the big ones. It's falls obviously are, or maybe not obviously. I don't know, depends on what your experience is. Falls are the biggest risk as we get older, because they're the ones that can change your circumstances the fastest. Even if you're perfectly well enabled, you trip and fall, and things can happen very quickly, can go downhill very fast. So yeah, tripping hazards, lighting, storage, those are some of the key ones. So, for example, one of the things I've done, it's part of what we offer, is I'm an Age Safe Canada certified home inspector, and that's a
And what does
program
that mean?
yeah, so that's a program that I'm certified in, to come in and basically assess a home for all of these safety things, whether it's walkways, lighting, storage things. There's a whole host of items that come into play. And so, it's just that you can start there, get your home assessed, and have people point out, okay, yeah, you should probably think about changing this or moving this, or whatever the case may be. But that would be kind of the starting point. I think you also want to, there's an element of knowing yourself. So if I'm living in a home and I'm getting older and I want to stay in that home for the next 10, 20, or even 30 years, because people are living longer.
Yes.
You want to think about, you want to plan ahead. You want to plan ahead. Okay, what do I want to be able to do? I still want to travel. I want to be able to play with my grandchildren. I want to be able to do the same sports that I do now, or whatever the case may be, and plan accordingly. So whether it's dealing with your health, dealing with the way your home is set up, you want to sort of have that forward thinking in mind, and think and plan ahead for it before it's too late.
Right. And do you find that a lot of people are planning ahead, or are they waiting to the last minute to have modifications done to make life easier?
Yeah, I think a little bit of yes, a little bit of no. I think generally speaking, from what I've seen, I think everybody, regardless of age, but particular seniors, I think there's a bit more awareness in terms of personal fitness, personal health. And so you're seeing more active people are more active later into their lives, that's a big part of it, because that helps your stability, that helps your balance and your ability to get around. In terms of making modifications to the home, less so. I think all of us, and I'm sure I will be that way when I get there, we don't necessarily think that it's a problem until it really becomes a problem.
It's a problem. Yes.
Right. And so what you often see is, okay, well, no, everything was fine until mom had a fall, and now we want to look at this. We want to look at this. So yeah, it's not, I wouldn't say a lot of people are forward thinking about it.
Okay.
But there's some exceptions for sure, but we certainly encourage it with people a lot.
Okay. Perfect. It's funny you said that more older adults are staying active longer. I remember maybe about a decade and a bit ago, no, it was probably more than that, but I heard a stat that says for the adults that don't move enough, that they're more sedentary, they will be the ones to spend the last decade of their life in a bed.
Yep.
And you don't realize how important it is to get your body moving consistently, and sometimes vigorously to protect your health moving down. And that's some of the things when you say that, not a lot of people are forward thinking, that's part of it. We got to think about what do we want to do? How do we want to be able to do it?
Mm-hmm.
And moving our body is part of that.
Yeah. And it's not even just moving. I mean, getting out and walking is great and getting that cardio, but building muscle mass is a big one as well. Cause I'm at an age now where I lose muscle mass faster than when I was in my younger days. And that's just going to continue to decline faster. So you have to keep up on it. And amount of lean muscle mass is a huge indicator of what your kind of health span is going to be, as you said.
So I want to say during the pandemic, I had this conversation with a girlfriend about lifting weights and the importance of lifting weights.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't understand.
Right.
I kept hearing it, but I didn't know the why.
Right.
This year, maybe I'm a little bit embarrassed to say, but anyways, I'm sure I'm not alone. But this year, I was listening to a podcast that spoke about the importance of building your muscle mass as you get older.
Mm-hmm.
And that it's the biggest cavity of our bodies. And when we get sick or when we fall, if we don't build that muscle mass, we don't heal as well, or it takes longer for us to heal.
Yep.
And so I'm in that age group now that I think I woke up one day and I was like, what is this? Like, this used to be so firm and now it's not. I'm like, what's happening?
Yep.
And I never wanted ever to lift weights before. And I was never concerned with building my muscle mass because I felt like it's decent. I don't want to be a bodybuilder.
Right.
But now it's like, I need to be lifting weights. It's not good. And thinking forward, I don't want to have a fall and that's the end of me because I didn't take time to build this muscle.
Yeah, exactly. I'm in the same boat. I only started really taking it seriously in the last couple of years myself.
Right.
And I mean, and the great thing is like, it has so many other benefits, right? Like I feel better. I move better. I sleep better, all of those things. So absolutely. Like all of these things that I preach when I, when I speak to seniors are things that I'm actively starting to engage in now. Cause especially I think spending 12 years in retirement residences and seeing the full spectrum, you see the people who they've stayed active, they've stayed vigorous, they've stayed independent, and you're amazed. And then they tell you how old they are and it blows your mind. And then unfortunately you see the other cases where, they have a lot of difficulty moving around or their posture or whatever the case may be. So but it doesn't have to start at our age. Even if it doesn't matter if you're 60 years old, 70 years old, you can get started. You can jump in and start turning a corner now.
Right. Perfect. Okay. So how do you involve family members in the decision-making process to ensure everyone is comfortable and informed about the choices being made?
Yeah, this has been a big discussion point for us right from the beginning. One of the things we've talked about, what's very important to us is building trust. As we said, contractors sometimes have a bad reputation, and we recognize that we're dealing with a vulnerable sector. And so, we absolutely will encourage family members to be involved. What we would typically do is if we go into a renovation, doesn't matter who calls us, if it's the homeowner that calls us, if they're the senior, we will say, okay, look, who else? We need one point of contact. We need one person to make the decisions. Otherwise that gets messy. But who else do you want to be kept in the loop? Do you have, is it your kids? Is it a friend? Is whoever it may be? And if you want to have 10 people on that list, when we send out updates and we send out whatever, we'll send it out to all those people. Because we want to make sure everything is transparent and open. Especially because, a lot of the time with seniors, you're often dealing with, say a woman living by herself. Yeah. And we recognize that power imbalance that we're bringing in with us. So all of our supervisors are, including myself and my partner Dave, we all have vulnerable sector police checks from the city of Toronto, just as a, okay, look, we're we're on the up and up, we're trustworthy, but we would actively encourage someone to say to someone in that situation, yeah, why don't you get someone else to just come and sit at the table with you and just be a third party.
Right. Yeah, that's smart. And especially in today's day and age. You know, I was speaking to a lady, and I think I was talking about you guys actually. And you know, she said, I have things that, you know, I know might need to get done, but I'm so terrified of picking up the phone and calling somebody. You just don't know. And even the contractors that can do the work, are they taking you on the ride? Because I'm the single older woman.
Yep.
And
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I think even realtors as well, that some people like afraid to talk to them, us.
Yeah.
That, you know, like what's going to happen? Are you going to like force me to sell my house? And it's like, no.
Right.
No, that's got to be a decision that you comfortably make. I can help you. I can give you options and tell you, you know, what you're getting into, but I can't make that decision for you.
No.
So I love that you have your vulnerable sector. Like you've given me an idea that, yeah, I should possibly do that as well. Just it's another layer of comfort for the people that we're dealing with.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And we're also very big on, you know, you get some, and, you know, some contractors are honest about it, but they'll kind of like, okay, they'll scribble a number down on a piece of paper and hand it to you and kind of go about things that way. Everything we do is fully documented in writing up front. Even the payment schedule, right? I mean, yeah, it's construction, so there can be changes along the way, but there's a weekly update and a weekly touch point to say, okay, here's how this week went. Here's what you can expect the next week. These are the days we should be here. If we're not going to be here on these days, and this is why, right? It's just keeping everything very well, because we've all had that experience where the contractor just doesn't show up. Right. I've had it as well. Ironically, the guy that connected my partner and I, we've both written him off because he turned out to he burned both of us. And so we laugh about it. We're like, well, we can't be too mad at him because he put us together. And this
I was just going to say, everything happens for a reason.
Right? So yeah, we get that. And so the last thing we want to do is have anybody feel like we're trying to pull the wool over their eyes or trying to sneak something by them. If anything, we're gonna err on the side of too much information. And if that means we get more questions or have to walk people through things a little bit more because of it, then so be it.
Yeah, so be it. Yeah, and it's better when your clients know what's happening. It's going to go smoother.
Oh, of course.
They won't have to stop you for questions and, you know, you getting out of your groove because you've gone through that. And then even if you have to refresh their memory,
it's fine.
Smaller. Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Beautiful. I love to hear that. So I have a question. How do you advise individuals on the financial investment required for modifying their homes?
Sure. Yeah, it's a very individualized, it's very unique to the individual to some degree. But what we will usually start with, depending on what it is, I mean, you know, for example, you want new flooring, we can kind of do a cost per square foot. You want a new kitchen, we can kind of give a ballpark of that. Once you start getting into accessibility things or other features and things like that start to add a lot of different details to it, we usually start with, you know, okay, let's just start with, okay, here's a broad spectrum of options that you can consider. And then at that point, we start to talk about if they're happy to share it, if we can get their budget information, like, you know, okay, we kind of want to stay within this. All right, well, here's what you can do for this amount of money. And if you wanted to do this, it would exceed that, but here's what would work. We do try to make people aware of grants, tax credits, different things like that might be available. It fluctuates and changes from day to day. We won't necessarily do the application because that's getting messy. But we'll certainly point people in the right direction. And, where possible, we'll also, offer ideas of like, okay, maybe you do this as one phase. And then a little bit later, if you're comfortable, you can do this phase. We also partner with financial advisors. We have a couple in particular who are very well versed in how to utilize the value in your home. So, for example, there'd be a lot of people in Toronto, if they own their home outright and have been living there for 20 or 30 years or more, there's a lot of value built up in that house because they would have paid a much smaller amount. And you know all about this.
Right.
So there are financial tools available to leverage that value. There's a variety of them, and I can't personally speak to them because I'll get them wrong. But there's lines of credit, there's reverse mortgages, there's a whole bunch of things. So we have a couple of people kind of that we associate with who know all of those details and could walk people through it to help that out.
Okay. So you mentioned grants, that there's grants available. Can you touch upon some grants that could help people cover the cost to modify their home?
Yeah. So and as I'm talking, I'm just going to bring up something that I was recently putting together for someone to talk about a little bit of that. And again, I'll stress that these change from, year to year, even month to month sometimes. So you want to kind of stay on top of it. And every time we tend to get into this, we'll always kind of do a fresh search ourselves, just to make sure we're completely up to date on everything that's available. But let me just see here. So where did it go? Somewhere. So March of Dimes has a home and vehicle modification program it's more based on accessibility. So, but again, if you're putting in grab bars, if you're putting in, if it's that can apply to seniors, so that can sometimes be up to $15,000 if you are eligible for it. And there's something called the Ontario Assistive Device Program. I'm not exactly sure what the amounts are for that. There's a home accessibility tax credit that you can get up to $3,000 back on your taxes. I know at different times I don't think they're running one right now, but I know the province often runs energy grants. So if you're doing modifications and it happens to improve the energy efficiency of your house, you can get some dollars back from that. So those are the ones kind of top of mind. I think I also know, I think there's also ones because there's a lot of people are modifying their homes to bring their loved ones home, right? They're bringing their parents into their own home. Right. I think there are some tax credits for that, something called a multi-generational tax credit or something along those lines.
Okay.
So those are the ones that come top of mind. I don't know that all of them are currently available, but those are the most recent ones that I've seen.
Okay, fabulous. There's a lot.
And like I said, it's always fluctuating and turning over. Right now, a lot of the grants that seem to be coming out are more accessibility for public spaces as opposed to residential. But like I said, March of Dimes seems to have something on consistently.
Okay, perfect. So with everybody's home becoming smart, what technology is out there or do you utilize to improve the safety and convenience for individuals choosing to stay in their homes longer?
Sure. Yeah, the smart devices are something that we certainly will help people explore. I myself in my own home, I use the Google Nest line. It's very popular. It's pretty intuitive, both in terms of setup and then availability. There's other programs as well that I think run similarly. So, for example, on one program, I have 2 security cameras, 2 smoke detector, carbon monoxide detectors, and my thermostat.
Wow.
And I can see the cameras and control the devices all from my phone. And even if I'm out and I forget, I'm going to be out for, we're going away for a weekend. I forgot to turn the air conditioning down. I can change that.
Right.
We've all had that time where we're cooking something and the smoke detector starts going off.
Right.
Like I'm pretty sure I haven't explored it myself, but I'm pretty sure there's a feature in there that you can silence the smoke detector from your phone.
Wow.
You can, I know there's some, I don't know if Nest does this, but there's lighting. You can get smart lighting as well, whether it's,
Mhm.
you can set it on schedules. You can have them on motion sensors. So like you get up to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night and you walk into the hallway, you can have the lights come on at a low level
Wow.
automatically, right? There's so many things. Now the challenge of it is some of them, as with anything software or app related, some are easy to use and some are more complicated. So we're doing our research and we're educating ourselves on the different options that are out there.
Okay.
So like I said, Google's the one that I know best and is pretty user friendly. But I would say for some seniors, a lot of seniors are very tech savvy, but some not so much. So they might want to get a relative to come in and help them out.
That might be me too.
Fair. That's fair.
um, okay. Well, is there anything else that I might have missed that you want to share with us before we go on to our rapid fire questions?
Oh, rapid fire. Yeah, I mean, I would love to talk about our this concierge club that we are getting ready to launch. We're just about to pilot it, and talking about allowing seniors to stay in their homes longer, or also, I think you with your downsizing and moving into a new place. So what we've started to build is a concierge service for home repair or any questions related to home upkeep. So, for example, it doesn't matter whether something electrical goes wrong in your house, something plumbing, whether it's your furnace, your roof, anything at all. We're setting up a single point of contact, whether it's you have a question, you're not sure what to do, or you want somebody to fix it, you can call us.
Right.
We're going to include with that home reminders, hey, we're going to call you and remind you to check the batteries on your smoke detector, or we'll come out and do it for you if you need be. So that's something we've got in the works. We're just starting to kind of put the finishing touches on it to launch our pilot for it. But it's something we're excited about. So we'll ask people to stay tuned.
No problem. We'll help keep them updated.
Sure.
Okay. So love to give some or ask some rapid fire questions to add a little bit of element of fun.
Okay.
So my first
Ready.
one, if you could have dinner with any fictional character, who would it be and why?
Any fictional character? Interesting. I don't read a lot of fiction nowadays, so I'm blanking a little bit. I feel like it would be someone like one of these like savant or very quirky characters. I'm blanking on names. I'm terrible at this now. Yeah, I'm drawing a blank. House from the TV show would be interesting.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah, but anyone like that, one of those ones I'm terrible with specifics, but those people who's like, oh, they're quirky and interesting, and they seem to know all the things about all the things.
Right. Okay. Got it. And so why would that type of character interest you?
I'm a lifelong learner. I'm intrigued by what I don't know and by
Okay.
different perspectives and new ideas and new ways of looking at things, which is, I think, unfortunately, the world is in short supply of right
Yes.
now.
Yeah.
So anyways, I think that's where it comes from. Anyone who can kind of like give me a different perspective on things is fascinating to me.
Okay. Perfect. So what's your go-to karaoke song?
Go-to karaoke song, This Thing Called Love, Queen.
Okay. How about you sing a line for us?
This thing called love, I just can't handle it. That one.
Okay, sounds good. So, if you could instantly master one skill, what would it be?
Instantly. I mean, can I say parenthood? No, I've got 2 kids. Can I say that I don't feel like I'm a master at that? But
Oh, I have a 20-year-old and I still haven't mastered it either.
there you
So
go.
I don't know.
I'm trying to learn bookkeeping right now as well. That's maybe that one would be another one.
Okay. It's useful.
Right?
Useful.
Especially when you're running your own business.
Exactly. You don't want the tax man after you.
No.
So last one. What's the most adventurous thing you've ever done?
That I can talk about.
Yeah, keep it PG.
Yeah, fair enough. I'll give a PG version of it. That one night, with a large group of people down in Las Vegas,
Oh.
we were looking for something to do, and some random person came up and said, "Well, I've got something for you to do. Just come and get in the limo, and we'll go, and it'll be this, this, and this." And we're like, we're either going to die or we're going to have a great time, and we had a great time. It was good.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
Yeah, it was very bizarre, but it was a great night. Very memorable.
Well, all you had to say was Vegas, and I got it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Patrick.
Thank you.
Definitely shared a lot of useful information that the audience will like. So if they wanted to get a hold of you, how would they do that?
Sure. Easiest way, go to our website, mandinagroup.ca, MANDINA group.ca, which is, people ask where that name come from. It's a combination of Dave and my wife's names, Amanda and Nina. So mandinagroup.ca is the quickest and easiest way. There's a form there if you have a question, or if you just want to be kept up to date on what we're up to. You can send us something that way, and we'd love to hear from you.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much. So thank you for joining us today. I'm Natalie Lewin of Lux Transitions, a realtor with Keller Williams Portfolio in Toronto. I specialize in helping adults 65 plus scale down to their next chapter. I'm passionate about assisting and educating people on this important journey. If you or someone you know is considering a transition, please DM me to schedule a discovery call. Remember, life is beautiful, and I'm here to help you make the most of it. Tune in next time, same place. We'll be speaking with Andrea Allen of the University of Toronto about elder abuse and its many forms. Take care. Until next time.